Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds. Merry spookholes.
Merry spookhole.
I don't like that. I don't like that phrase. There's something about that.
Hey, everybody, get your spookholes ready.
Hello, everyone.
It's a brand new MASKHOLES for the holidays, unless you're watching this later, but you can't watch it unless you're listening to it. It's fine. This is all fine.
Spookholes.
Tom, how you doing?
Spookholes are where ghouls stick their fingers.
Oh, listen! Big thank you to Krishnovich. Chris Shanovich, our Patreon producer, who had me and Tom. I'm David. You're Tom.
I am.
That's our names.
You are.
We're doing a podcast about Friday the 13th. If you haven't listened to this, there is 8 other episodes.
Yeah.
So,
what are you waiting for?
Yeah, we're deep in the spook hole at this point. Right?
Elbow deep at this point, man.
and so we're to give you a little taste of what's to come. We're going to talk about the movie. We're going to follow what Jason was up to during the movie. We're going to rate the second biggest monsters of the movie because, boy, there's always a bunch of fucking monsters.
There's always. Every horror movie doesn't take place in the real world, so depending on how far out there it goes, there's always room for some real true blue maniacs outside of the slash themselves. And
this one, delicious.
They come up with such great maniacs in the Friday the 13th series.
They really do. And then we're going to rate the deaths in it. So
yeah,
at this point, I mean, if you read the podcast title, you know we're at Friday the 13th, Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell.
The final Friday.
The final Friday. Again, there's like so many final Fridays.
Yeah. This is the second one.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, Tom. I think we coordinated this correctly. I watched the unrated version.
Yes, I did as well.
Which I genuinely don't know the difference, but I have seen both. I have some suspicions. I think there is one particular death that I'm pretty sure isn't in the unrated version or isn't in the theatrical.
Yeah. It's mostly that stuff. I'm not sure if you can watch the unrated version streaming. We couldn't find it streaming. But it is available on hard media on Blu-ray and stuff. So if you're able to get your hands on one of those.
Right. And this isn't like Blade Runner. It's not going to fundamentally change the
No,
plot.
But I went 20 years having only seen the theatrical cut of this movie, and it kind of stinks.
Yeah, so this is what I was going to say. I think at least in our circles, I don't know how universal this is, but this is fairly considered like the worst of the series.
Near the bottom, if not the worst, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the big issues is Jason is not in it.
Jason's super not in it, which is fun because like he's literally not in part 5, and even part 5 is much better than this initially.
Because someone dressed as Jason is in part 5.
Yeah, at least we got that.
Yeah, but it is definitely better unrated. So if you watch this, watch the unrated version.
Yeah, you at least get to see the because I think is it Nicotero doing the effects in this one?
I don't know.
It's somebody of note doing the gore effects in this one, and most of them got cut out of the theatrical version. So if you want to see all the cool effects, you have to watch the unrated version.
The other thing about this one, and just barely, but it's the first Friday the 13th, I think, that truly looks like it's the 90s. Like
it does. It feels like the 90s too. Like this one, right. This is 1993, so we're deep enough into the 90s where the actual feel of the 90s is starting to take shape. Because the first couple of decades of a new decade is really just still the last decade.
Yeah, it's like residual runoff.
Yeah, like I was. Yeah. I think on an episode of Hot Dog I was listening to recently, Brockway said that like 1990 or 1991 was like the most 1980s year ever.
Yes. Everybody's like recovering. Everybody looks like burnt out.
It's like you suddenly pulled the emergency brake on the 1980s.
Yeah.
And that's just the pile up.
And it's true when you look at like 2001 up into a point.
Oh,
like,
man. Frosted Tips hit critical mass in 2001. Yeah.
Speaking of which, this technically takes place around 2005, this movie.
Yeah, we get a couple of hard facts established, such as Jason's birth year and the name of his father, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jason's pappy revealed.
Apparently, originally, so there was a version when Jason's father was the one who starts this all by eating the heart. So I looked into the making of this movie.
They keep teasing Jason's father like he was almost the gravedigger in part 4.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
This movie had a lot of problems.
Did it?
Yeah. I think Adam Marcus is the director. I forget if he made he wasn't the screenwriter, but basically there was, between him and Sean Cunningham, there seemed to be a big struggle and battle making this. There were different versions. According to Marcus, but Cunningham denies this, is that one of the things Cunningham wanted was to, quote, find a way to get rid of that fucking mask, which doesn't seem like something anybody like embedded in Friday the 13th would want. You know what I mean? Like, sure enough, they do get rid of it in this. So
I could see Sean Cunningham saying it though, because that's kind of part of that whole dispute, right? Where his dispute versus the writer's dispute, I guess, or whatever it is, because like technically his movie doesn't have Jason and the Mask in it.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Like Jason and the Mask is sort of when it spun off into its own thing.
Right. I could see him being like mad at that idea.
Mm-hmm.
They also,
I don't know if that's true, but sorry.
Right. Oh yeah. Again, it's a he said thing right now. He also didn't want Jason Takes Manhattan to be acknowledged, which I would argue it totally is, but we'll get into that. Even if they don't directly acknowledge it, I think the escalation at the start of this could only happen if Jason took Manhattan.
Right. Only if he had been clomping through Times Square, drop-kicking boom boxes.
He is Osama bin Laden in this. Like, that's what he is. He attacked Manhattan, and then SEAL Team 6 was like, we have to take this guy out. And the timeline matches up.
So many of my notes are to the effect of, what is Jason in this universe?
Yes, to the world. What is he to the world?
What is he? Is he a serial killer? Is he a terrorist? Is he a loose bear? Is he Bigfoot? Yeah. He kind of seems to... He is all of those things at one point in the movie.
Yeah. So, this was taken over. There was a negotiation with New Line Cinema over the rights to Jason, because they were already setting up, of course, Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, they've been threatening to do that for so long.
That reason,
one of the big myths of my childhood.
Yeah, and it still took 10 years after this. They'll make another movie before they actually make it, which is wild. Because of that reason, the character of Tommy Jarvis did not roll over. Like, they did not have the rights to Tommy. This is where it starts fracturing, right? Like the rights. Which is why Steve, the character of Steve, was originally Tommy Jarvis, which makes a lot more sense when you watch this.
Yeah, he sort of comes out of like, you totally think he's just going to be, some other Yahoo who's just going to get his head stabbed with a rolling pin or something.
Right.
He just kind of drives into the movie 20 minutes in, and you're like, well, this guy's going to get murked.
And everybody acts like he's a maniac right away. And I was like, oh, if he was Tommy Jarvis, that actually would make a lot more sense, right?
Yeah, everybody has he is this dude that left town years ago, so everybody has oh, it's this guy coming back. So yeah, that does make more sense if it's Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah.
Everybody already has an opinion of him.
Yeah, exactly. The draft written by Jay Hughley was reportedly unintelligible. That's a quote from the Wikipedia. And so they tried to scrap it. They tried to rewrite.
What if it was literally unintelligible? He typed,
I know, just gibberish.
He typed it with his elbows.
Well, so the new person brought in wanted to do Jason caught in a Los Angeles gang war, which dare I say would
really
not
want
have
to
been.
See that movie.
Me too, but boy, made in 1993, it would have not. I don't think it would have gone down right.
You don't think that would have been culturally sensitive?
No, but they shot that down almost immediately, and then basically he spent a weekend rewriting it, so that's what we got, which is why the script is kind of nonsense. I think.
Would have been more racist Predator 2.
Yes. Yeah. And then during production, Marcus and Cunningham basically fought. It said that Cunningham stepped in as director and replaced half the film. And so this movie is just one big creative clusterfuck, which is why I got so confused about the plot. The tangled web of relationships in this was really confusing for a while.
It's clearer in the unrated version. To me anyway, the theatrical version, it's mostly it's really just all the kills and stuff that's cut out, but the way they cut around them and trim certain scenes, I haven't watched the theatrical version in a while, but I remember it really leaving me way more confused than this version does. It's still confusing.
Yeah. You can't cut because it's okay. Jessica is the daughter of Diana. Diana is Jason's half-sister that Jason is trying to kill because they're the only ones who can kill him. Apparently. I don't know. We'll get into it, but I don't know why anybody knows any of this.
It's not so he can kill. Well, they will be killed, but his goal,
wants to resurrect.
Right. He wants to crawl all up inside their bodies so he can get his body back. Because
quick.
He has to possess all these other whack-ass bodies, and he doesn't like using them.
Right. Jessica has a baby with Steve, but is not in a relationship with Steve. And in fact, Steve's never met the baby. For some reason, I don't know if they added why. She's currently dating Robert, the
I guess
news
I
guy.
assumed he was in prison or something, the way everybody was talking about him.
It's really confusing because they roll this stuff out. Normally you do all this stuff at the top. You set up all the relationships and then go. We have to sort of learn as we go. We're still meeting new
characters 40 minutes in.
Yeah, when he first meets the baby, he says I've never met this baby before, and I'm like, wait, why? And stuff like her relationship with Robert, who's not Steve, but she has a baby with Steve.
Robert the news maniac.
Oh yeah, it's Jerry Springer shit. And then Steve is accused of murdering Diana, and I had to rewind to make sure Diana was Jessica's mom, because let me tell you, Jessica does not react.
She
to that
does not
news.
react There's an incredible scene that takes place when she's meeting her friend Vicky, the waitress.
And then Vicky, who just takes the baby randomly, and I was like, wait, is it Vicky's baby?
Are they sisters? No,
right.
They're not sisters.
But the baby gets passed around.
She walks in on Vicky cleaning up, sponging up her mother's blood.
Yes.
And then they just proceed to have a conversation. Oh, have you met the baby? Oh, hi, baby. And then they just start talking in a room with her mother's gigantic murder blood stain.
Right. It was scenes like that where I kept, I went on the Wikipedia. I was like, wait, what is the relationship here?
Does she not know yet? Does she not know her mother's dead?
Right. And it's impossible to really tell. You have to pay a lot of attention.
Yeah, that's what shouldn't be a challenge that a Friday the 13th movie lays at your feet. I shouldn't have to pay close attention to the dialogue.
Right, just have a bunch of teens or whatever, and they're fucking, and Jason shows up. But this weaves such a tangled web that it's it distracted me from the main plot, which is also nonsense. That also, this is, I guess, in the Evil Dead universe, We didn't mention that.
Yeah, the Necronomicon is in it.
Yeah, the one from the Evil Dead, like the prop, it seems, or at least a really close replica.
Yeah, the pages look pretty much identical as far as my memory serves.
Oh yeah, it 100% is the same, and so like, I guess like so, I guess what is. I was going to save this for what Jason's up to, but we can talk about it here. Like, what is the lore here? Because it seems like Pamela Voorhees was always a Satanist, is what we're learning.
They are throwing a lot of lore at us in part 9.
Yeah.
I have this in my notes. Like, I can see why this is the last one for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's the reveal is that, like, Jason is some sort of... He's part of some Satanist family that has the Book of the Dead. We see his house, which we've never seen, his family house. And it's all like...
It's so weird because keep in mind, up to this point, the lore of Jason is he's a zombie. Like he was a kid that drowned at Crystal Lake, and now he comes back to life because teens have too much sex. And that's it. He's just that guy as a zombie. That's the extent of his lore. But now they're like, yeah, he's part of a Satan cult family, and now there's this bloodline where he has to infect his little Boogan's self. Like he turns into a little critter, little Jim Henson studio critter.
We learn that he's a zombie by design, essentially. That he was like... this kid that drowned just happened to be part of this other horror movie
He's like a
plot.
vessel. Yeah, he has like a demon goober inside of him, and then that goober can crawl worm-like into other bodies.
Right up in there. Yeah.
Either end, we learn. Yeah.
Either end, yeah. It is so...
It's a lot to give Jason fans.
Yeah.
Also, on the 9th film.
And also X is there. Stephen Williams, X from the X-Files.
I have about 700 words written about his appearance alone.
He's incredible. So apparently Tony Todd also auditioned for this role.
Of course he did. This was written for Tony Todd, it seems like.
Yeah. I think Stephen Williams is perfect because there's
he's
this
incredible
maniac aspect.
Right, and it's also... There's a maniac aspect, and it's also slightly unconvincing.
Yes.
Like it feels like he doesn't it feels like he's wearing this persona as a costume. Like he feels like he doesn't quite believe it.
No. I kept thinking he was up to something else.
Yeah.
But speaking of up to something, should we talk about what Jason's up to in this?
We really should.
So I guess he took Manhattan. He melted.
He sure did. He took it with him.
Yeah. And somehow he healed up. Somehow. And so
he just needed some time off.
Yeah. He went back to Crystal Lake and he just needed to rest. And sure enough, some ladies in this loft cabin, I almost feel like it's his house.
It's hard to tell. I have a lot of questions about this.
He's just in there.
Well, because we find out it's an FBI trap. Like it's a sting.
Jason gets fucking a sting put on him.
He gets a federal sting.
Which is a wild fucking... Because imagine this from Jason's point of view of being like, I just want to get back.
That's what I'm trying to do. I have all these notes down where... Yeah. Because we find out that this is a sting. Like, it begins with him, this woman driving all the way up to this cabin and taking a shower, doing all the standard Friday the 13th things.
Yeah.
Alone. And then Jason appears and chases her and she runs into the woods and... All of a sudden, all of these spotlights snap on, and it's a federal SWAT team, and they fucking blast him to pieces.
They light him up, and they bomb him. They bomb Jason.
Jason.
Again, he is their Osama bin Laden. They're doing drone strikes.
It has come to this.
This is a world where, like, instead of 9/11, this happened, and Bush was like, "We got him," like we did. Or I guess Obama.
Yeah, this is the mission accomplished photo. We got him.
And so this is like the big thing that America was rallying around.
Exactly.
Like Jason was the biggest public enemy. And he didn't know. He was just going about his business. He didn't know all of America was rooting against him.
Yeah, he's what all the kids saw on television.
Yeah.
On Tuesday morning.
Exactly.
But yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. It's this federal operation, like this involved sting.
They set up lights.
Right. So that means either they either built their own house to honeypot Jason and hope that he would just eventually infest it like a wasp.
Yeah.
Just like we just build a cabin near Crystal Lake, he will show up, sort of like a Field of Dreams situation.
It seems like that. Again, this woman we don't see her, she's not radioing or anything.
No, yeah. I don't know how they're keeping in contact.
Yeah.
Or they're having her just go to different cabins along Crystal Lake and take a shower and just see which one Jason shows up at. Or third possibility, Jason has been following her.
Right. Or they've been following Jason. Like they've been doing a slow, quiet sting on Jason.
He's following her and they're following him. So what does that look like? Was Jason running down the highway after her car? Is Jason in his own car?
Oh, God.
Is he in
probably.
an Uber?
I think.
Which means if he is, it means he has a cell phone.
Right. I like to think he has a burner at this point. He's got to keep up.
Yeah, because according to the film's timeline, we're in the 2000s by now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's at least got a BlackBerry or something. I don't. Oh,
Jason would be one of those goons who gets every new piece of tech the day of. Like he's one of those guys waiting outside of the Apple store for the new iPhone.
Just slowly, just discreetly killing the people in front of him. He got the first iPhone. Oh, he would be so happy. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a wild thing to happen to Jason. Because
it's an incredible turn of events.
Surprised. I want to know also his hair's a little long. He looks like he's let himself a little go.
Right.
In the moment.
It's like he just got out of quarantine.
Yeah. He just got mutated back into a person, I guess, because the last time we saw him, he had melted. So he's just getting his shit together. He's trying to move on, and then he just gets shredded. Completely shredded.
If you took the mask off, he has a beard.
Yeah,
there's
no way he doesn't have a beard. Yeah,
he just looks like old Rambo.
Yeah,
going out to cut logs in the wilderness, and then this woman shows up in his cabin.
Yeah, and he's like, "Fuck this," and then sure enough, they set up a fucking trap. They had all the lights set up. They did this whole thing, and they drone strike him.
After shooting him 782 times.
Yeah.
And after watching the scene, you're just like, well, yeah, I guess that would work. You would have to try it, right? You'd have to try it at some point. It's like, what if we just blew him up?
Yeah. I like this because, when you think about horror movies, characters like Jason or Chucky, where as they make more and more sequels, eventually the government would notice.
The solution to the problem becomes obvious. Yeah, it's like the end of Night of the Living Dead, or more like the end of Shaun of the Dead, where it's the zombies were a problem for 14 hours.
Right. But I imagine eventually Chucky makes his way to the FBI and they go, hey, there's a haunted doll.
He'd get on their radar eventually.
We need to step in. We can't have haunted dolls running around. We just can't.
Can we just kick it? We can.
Right.
We can just kick it. Okay.
And it's great because Jason only kills 10 to 20 people at a time. And it just escalates to the point that the government's like, listen, there's this lake in our country that if you go there, a guy in a hockey mask kills you and he's invincible. We're going to have to eventually deal with this guy, right? Even if Jason Takes Manhattan didn't exist in this universe,
right, even if
eventually they would go
Manhattan.
listen, this is becoming a problem. We have to go in there and just blow this guy up. And
this is Ruby Ridge in this universe.
Exactly.
Jason at Crystal Lake.
Sadly, death does not release him.
We have to do something about this guy.
Yeah. But sadly, Jason explodes, but his heart stays alive. I have no idea what it's like for him in this span of time.
I don't know, but he makes some comical noises while he's getting shot to pieces. It's like Frankenstein shitting out McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. But once he's just a heart, like, do you think he can hear what's going on around him?
I hope so.
Do you think he has... Because he starts hypnotizing the coroner to eat him.
Yeah.
And so he's at this point, he's like a slug. Like, I imagine he exists like some sort of like earthworm in this moment.
Like a larval stage.
Yeah. He possesses this guy, this coroner, and the funniest thing happens to me. Everybody around him just starts talking shit on Jason.
I know, it's so wild. This is where I had another moment where the coroner's fellow coroner sits down and is like, I finally get to give Jason the finger, and is talking about how, oh, you piece of trash. It was another moment where I was like, what is Jason in this universe?
Yeah, everybody's like, what an asshole, Jason. Now that he's dead, we can talk about him.
Right.
And it's just like, what a terrible time for Jason to have possessed
bully?
a man.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Is he the sports team you don't like? Yeah, it's exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
But yeah, he possesses the most divorced man.
Yeah.
Divorced man in the medical industry, yeah.
He sure does. And then he kills the first coroner, and then he's leaving, and the two guards, one of which is Kane Hodder, is like, this is one of my favorite parts. He starts to just leave.
He's gonna leave them alone, yeah.
Yeah, and the guard is like, Jason, what a pussy, am I right? And he's just like, I'm gonna have to kill these guys. Like, everybody is talking trash about him, and he seems genuinely surprised by that.
He can't risk the damage to his cred, man. The damage to his reputation if he let that remark slide.
Yeah. No, he's going to have to kill these men.
He has to. He has to kill them so hard that it ends up on the news.
Yes. Does he have Jason's strength, or is he just... Because he
appears to.
He doesn't burn through bodies as much as I thought he would.
Right.
Because I like the idea of like...
It's even unclear why he needs to trade bodies, but continue.
Right. I like the idea of him really busting up each body and just having to really
just
swap
running it raw. Yeah, just really blowing it out.
But I guess he makes a straight line back to his sister. And this is where the question
really
came up in my mind.
He's just walking straight back to Crystal Lake like he usually does.
Who told him that in the event of his death, he needs to find his bloodline and sneak into their womb? Where did he acquire that information? Did he get it in hell? Like, is the idea... So I've done my own headcanon now, which is that when he died, he had a moment where he, like Thanos, like met Freddy Krueger in this like nether world, and Freddy explained it to him, and that's why Freddy's here now. Because someone, when he died, I assume, he got some sort of orientation.
Many faiths believe that Freddy Krueger is your guide into the next world. Right.
Like, what happened where he acquired this knowledge?
I don't know. It's either that, or his mom left him some sort of cassette tape that he found.
That's the thing. It's heavily implied that the family has been into this, which means that as a child, Jason might have had this knowledge. This is like just their religion.
Right. They must have spent at least a summer at this house, right? The house with the book of the dead and the ceremonial dagger.
And the playground. And the playground and back. But like, I have to assume he grew up with this knowledge.
Did he meet her then? Did they meet?
Who?
Did he meet his sister, his half-sister?
I don't know. That's the other question is how does his half-sister seems to know she's a Voorhees, right?
Yes.
So I also just genuinely don't know.
But she's clearly a lot younger than he would be because
he knows what she looks like.
Yeah. Maybe it's just a vibe, like a psychic vibe. He's dead after all. He's been to hell. He's dabbled in hell. So maybe he picked up some magic down there. That lets him sense his family members. Like it's so weird that they gave him all this Michael Myers stuff in this movie.
Also, so she lives at Crystal Lake, because what we see is basically on his way to go kill his sister, he swings by Crystal Lake to kill some campers who we know are explicitly at Crystal Lake. So
I think that's just where he was stopping.
Right.
You know, it's a place he likes.
Right. So I guess she's on the way, or Crystal Lake is on the way to her.
Yeah.
Okay. I can believe that. Because I was going to say, if she's a Voorhees and knows it, why would you ever live near Crystal Lake?
Seems like a mistake. Yeah, it seems like a mistake to even live on the same coast.
Yeah. Right. She's close enough that he walks to her.
I think, well, no, I
drives.
think this,
he could be driving.
I was about to say, I think
train.
this confirms that he drives.
Yeah. Or at least takes public transportation, a train or planes.
I think later on, he definitely steals the sheriff's car.
Yeah. We also learned something later that was very disturbing, which is that Jason in this state can talk. And we'll talk about that later.
He sure can. That's right.
Because he doesn't for the longest time.
Then all of a sudden they try to do the thing on us where which one of them is Jason. And it's like, does Jason know how to pretend to be a person? And the answer is yes.
He does, which means that he could be going through TSA again. So do you think TSA exists in this universe? Because did 9/11 happen? Or
9/11 was Jason taking Manhattan.
Right. Wait, what if TSA is just about ferries now? Because that's how he got to Manhattan. And subways, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And all-night diners.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you're going to have a TSA at an all-night diner. So many hits against diners.
So many cooks getting thrown against walls.
Yeah. He goes to stalk his half-sister, and then he sees a horny cop couple and seems to go absolutely not. He's outside the diner, and he's waiting, and he sees
she's right there.
Yeah, and he's just like, nope, I got to kill these two first.
No, he's got to... Sorry, go ahead.
No, he kidnaps the cop and takes him to his bondage room.
Yeah, he drives him to his bondage room in the Voorhees house,
and ties him down.
Yeah, and the amount of time it took him it's because he's trying to possess his sister's body. So in the amount of time it took him to grab, she was right there. Why didn't he just grab her anyway?
I don't know what he's doing at this point, because he also later will just hold people down and possess them. He does a whole ceremony for this one.
That's well. No, what he does is even more incredible. Is that he shaves him.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing this up.
He shaves the cop's mustache.
This might be the wildest thing that Jason does in the series.
It's Jason possessing a man's body, shaving another man's mustache off.
So what that means, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. That Jason saw this other cop and went, "Ooh, I could possess that guy."
I gotta possess
the guy
that
turned
guy,
around and he saw the mustache and he went, let's get rid of that first.
He doesn't want to kiss that mustache because he's got to possess him with his mouth. His little worm demon crawls out of his mouth.
He also doesn't want to have the mustache. So it's like designing your own sim. He looked at the guy and went I need to do a couple tweaks on this guy.
I want the clean shaven variant. And then later on he sees this guy in the mirror as the body he's possessing and he gets all bummed.
Right.
So here's my theory. Jason really wants his body back. We know this. That's his ultimate goal is these other bodies are trash. I want my cool ass body back. But also I think it must just feel good to change bodies. Maybe it feels like taking a dump or something, because he keeps changing bodies when it doesn't seem to make sense.
He gets distracted. He's distracted by this act.
Distracted by his body changing powers in this new movie.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, he's right there. He has her. All he has to do. Oh, I guess it's the daughter, right? But that's still one step
Either
closer.
Either one. And he ends up possessing the mom anyway in the end, and that's how he comes back to life.
Right. So yeah, in this moment, all he has to do is possess her, and he's done.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, he just gets distracted.
So he grabs he sees this cop and drives him halfway across town.
Right. And into this ceremonial fucking slab.
Drives. He absolutely drove that car.
He 100% drives the car, yes. He slams the wife's head, grabs the guy, kidnaps him.
Does he.
Drives him.
She was only moments before, she was so horny for bowling.
Extremely horny.
It's just real bowling
She died horny. Yeah. It's madness. I genuinely watching Jason shave this man. I'm wondering what the writer thought they were writing here. Because I don't know. My headcanon is what we're saying, which is like he just like
I wrote so much down.
I don't. So I'm guessing maybe he's finding people who are close to what he thinks he looks like. So he saw this cop and went like, well, that guy's closer to me than what I'm in now, except for the mustache. I don't know why he shaves the
coroner has a
mustache. You're right.
The coroner, he is possessed. He first possesses
maybe he was like,
hair.
I hate having a mustache.
Yeah, maybe he just didn't like the way it felt. Yeah, but why not shave his own face at that point?
I don't know.
We had so many questions.
I don't know why he shaves this man.
I did write down that he does seem to have a predilection for middle-aged men. Like, that's where he feels the most comfortable. Like, he doesn't possess a young guy until, like, his third or fourth possession.
Right, which I feel like works out better for him. But
he gets the most mileage out of the young dude, out of Newsmaniac.
Of course he would, too, where it's like, that guy's a little more spry. Yeah. You know, like...
His bones are a little sturdier.
He possesses until then exclusively what appears to be alcoholics.
Like Jason's going to test drive that thing hard.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's schlubby guys who seem to be,
They got the extra cushioning so he can.
Yeah. So he fucking shaves this guy and possesses him. And then he goes.
He ties him down
Diana.
with several belts. Jason had to get all of those belts.
Yes. He had to set up this whole slab thing, which again, I don't know why. Later, he just like raw dogs it. He just goes like,
he just does it. Yeah.
But this one time, he makes it really special. Like he's really in love with this one body, where he's like, I want it to be just right.
He really liked it. But then when he sees it in the mirror later, he's bummed.
Yeah. I don't fucking know.
It's just not the same. Like he's in the middle of trying to murder somebody, and he looks up and doesn't see the mask. He just sees this mustacheless dude. He's like, it's just doesn't feel right.
Good.
It's not as good.
Yeah, that's when he's trying to possess Diana and he gets stabbed and thrown out a window and then just bails. He just bails.
Yeah, he runs off. I think that might be the first time Jason's just bailed.
Yeah. He kills Diana, which it feels like Jason is not clear of his own motivations, where it's like, don't kill her. You need her, but whatever.
I guess he just got mad. But we do find out later that he doesn't need them to be alive.
No, yes, we do find that out. But he's just on a weird fucking tear.
Yeah, it's it's like when you read about like a celebrity spiraling.
Yeah.
Like when they have just a really bad but publicly bad week.
He also, I have to note, seems to know where everybody lives in this. And
it's his hometown, man. He spent summers at that house.
But like he's showing up not just at that house, but other people's. And I was like, is he checking people's wallets? Is he like he might be using the police scanner at that point?
Jason's hacking.
Yeah. He goes back to this family house and then he finds a bunch of dickheads in there, the news anchor, and he's like, well, that's a fucking freebie. Yeah, so he takes that guy.
Go ahead and possess this dude.
Yeah.
Fantastic suspenders on that guy.
Yes.
Suspenders that just say I've done cocaine with a professional tennis player.
Right. He goes to the police station and then it's a tear. He possesses a mystery person after this who turns out to be, what is his name?
Young
Randy?
cop. Yeah, Randy the young cop.
And this is when he starts to talk.
Right, when he's Randy, he like does a convincing portrayal of a real person.
Yeah.
Like he speaks English.
Yes. And he's like, it's me, Randy. And it seems like the guy. And so that raises all sorts of new questions about Jason. It's that same question about when you watch like Mystique and you're like, she's not just a shapeshifter, she's a very convincing actor. Or like she can portray.
She's like a psychic vampire.
Right. Where it's like shapeshifters also have to act like the person.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, well, how are they doing that? In this case, I don't know. Is Jason tapping into their subconscious?
Is he just eating their thoughts? Or I like to think that Jason just has this level of awareness all the time.
All right, and chooses not to.
He just chooses to behave in a certain way.
Well, I can see why Jason didn't talk before, because I think his mouth has literally rotted. You know, like, I don't think he has a tongue a lot of the time.
Oh, no, he hasn't had a tongue since the 70s.
Yeah. But I think that this is the realization that it's like he knows what people are saying. I mean, we know that because he killed the cops that were dissing him.
Yeah.
Like, he knows what people are saying. He can hear us talk about him. And so, yeah, he can talk. He can contribute. That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
There's a version of reality where he just like takes this cop's body and just goes, you know what, this is fine. And just continues his life and just like gets a job at Wall Street.
Well, he should have stayed in suspenders, guy, if you wanted that job.
Yeah, that's true.
It is as shocking as learning that the chair can talk.
Yes, it is. It's
like he can speak.
He can speak. No one would think he could speak.
No.
What? And then we go back to the house. He's in the other cop. He gets found out.
He
turns into a little boogan and starts just wiggling around.
Yeah.
Crawls
Top
up into
shelf boogan.
Yeah. Crawls up into a dead lady's womb and gets born again real quick. He is fully formed, and it must be a bummer is that he's already fucked up when he's born. Like, he doesn't look like fresh Jason.
No, he looks like drying out Jason that we saw at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
He looks like Jason on the injured reserve.
And in this moment, what is his goal now? He is born.
Just going back to being Jason.
Yeah, I think he
accomplished his goal.
They need to stop. He needs to stop them from stopping him.
Yeah.
And I only point that out because Steve is such a little wiener that Jason gets truly distracted bullying him. Like, he just starts. Jason comes at him with a shovel, and Jason starts bullying him. And I say bullying, not killing, because he just starts throwing Steve around and dragging him and just like bullying him, wailing on him.
He's enjoying being in his new body, and he doesn't want it to be over too soon.
Right. And he's so distracted by bullying Steve that he forgets that his niece is there and she stabs him.
Yeah, you always forget that your niece is standing there with a ceremonial dagger.
Yeah. He's stabbed in the heart and pulled into hell by Freddy Krueger. And that's a whole other thing, and we'll think about this more, I think, which is, what is it like for Jason to hang out with Freddy Krueger? That's going to be exhausting for both of them.
Yeah.
Like, Freddy's making a bunch of puns.
Jason
is just like sitting there.
It's like the two worst people getting stuck together at a party.
Yeah. They have nothing to talk about.
Not like the worst people at the party, but the least compatible. I think in Freddy's case, it's definitely the worst person at the party.
Oh, yeah. No one wants to hang out with Freddy.
No. And getting trapped in a corner with
At least
ass.
Jason's quiet. Yeah. Yeah, and Freddy's sitting there like, I know you can talk, Jason. I seen you talk. Just say something. Tell me how you're feeling. But did I miss anything on Jason's journey?
No, that's really it.
He's heart to corner to cop to Robert to Randy to Worm to Jason. That is his journey.
That's the circle of life.
I don't think I feel like we didn't say enough about the shaving.
He shaved a man's mustache. He was feet from his goal, and instead took this man and drove him across town so that he could tie him down and shave his mustache.
That has to be him working out some sort of fetish. There's nothing else that can be. It's so weird. It's so fucking weird.
The more I think about it, the more incredible it is that it happened in a Friday the 13th movie.
Right.
Like, when would you ever pitch this? Like, Jason goes and shaves this man's mustache off.
Right. It's like, I don't know what. It's like if the shark from Jaws went and shaved a guy's mustache all of a sudden, and you'd be like, what did that mean? And then talked. It's just like that.
Yeah,
it's just
if it sprang up out of the water to scare Roy Scheider and it's wearing a t-shirt.
I think what it is that, like, until that moment, Jason's goals have been very clear. Like, he's just
uncomplicated, yeah.
Yeah. He just kills. That's all he does. But all of a sudden, he made an aesthetic choice. He suddenly stopped and went, wait, I don't like this guy's mustache. I need to shave it off.
I need to get rid of this. Yeah.
It's the first time he ever showed any sort of like humanity. That's like a serial killer thing.
Personal taste.
Yeah. And he never will again.
No, it's the only time, I think. And except when he's choosing weapons.
Yes. But that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, that's where his interests usually lie.
All right. Should we talk about the second best monsters?
I think so, yeah.
All right. Shout out to the FBI. We'd already talked about it, but made the most amazing decision.
What a fun day it must have been for all of those FBI agents.
Yeah. To take that woman is an FBI agent.
Shoot
that they
this
said, here's what you're gonna
smelly
do.
Hulk.
Yeah. They're like, here, we want you to drive to this cabin, get naked, take a shower, and then hopefully survive. Because we don't know when Jason will pop in. And you need to survive long enough to lead Jason to this field.
We need you to go from cabin to cabin, being as sexy as possible.
Yeah. And she
try and lure that animal out of the forest.
Let's see. Phil the coroner, I want to give a shout out to.
Which one's Phil? The one he possesses?
He's the one who eats the heart. And okay. I know he's possessed to eat the heart.
Man, he crushes that heart.
But that one, yes, that.
He's making like Godzilla noises at the end of it.
Yes. And then even before he's like hypnotized, he is licking distance from the heart when he's examining it.
He's getting way too close to all these pieces.
Right. Like I can believe he just ate the heart because he wanted to.
I could believe that this is not the first time he's eaten partial remains.
Yes. Yes, he gives off that impression.
Yeah, he definitely, The
FBI guards who just seem like kind of bullies. I wanted to give them a little shout out. Because they like, when that coroner comes in, they kind of like bully the coroner. And I was like, is this fucking high school? You're the FBI. And then they start, talking shit about Jason. Like they really give off like high school bully vibes.
They do. It's not the least of which is Kane Hodder's partial mullet, his Billy Ray Cyrus mullet. That's bully hair.
Yep. So some other, I have a few. Do you have any you want to shout out? There's some ones I'm trying to save.
Right. Because... Yeah. The main one that I can't wait to get to. I guess the hitchhiking teens are all right.
Oh, I have some stuff to say about them because the three sex teens, Alexis, Deborah, and Luke, I looked up their names. They specifically say they're there to have premarital sex and smoke weed.
Right. They're trying to lure Jason. This is like the Jason version of using a Ouija board.
Yes. What's fascinating about them is I get the vibe that it's a couple and a third wheel. The girl, Alexis. I get the vibe that maybe they thought they were going to set up a three-way. Like this felt like it's a three-way that went wrong.
It felt like a failed three-way, yeah. Like a misunderstood Craigslist hookup.
Yeah, something. Or like they were gonna, and then at the last minute, she's like, you know what? It's not for me. And they're like, okay, we're going to fuck in the tent. Is that cool? And it's like, yeah, I'll sleep outside. But it's like there's no...
They were good to go until one of them farted at like the exact wrong moment. And it's like, you know what?
Mood's gone.
I'm going to sleep outside. It's fine. You guys take the tent.
It's the only way I can explain Alexis willingly going camping with her two extremely horny friends.
Right, with the two horniest friends in her contacts list.
Yeah, it's like, why would you ever go with these two? To listen to them fucking loudly have sex in the tent right outside. This has got to be some sort of hookup situation or a kink or something.
Yeah, that's what I suspect it was like a Craigslist situation where she just misunderstood the ad and showed up and it was like, oh, well, I guess we're going camping.
Yeah. All right. That should be fun too, I guess.
It's just going to be one person.
Tango, the trash dog. I only want to note that Tango the trash dog is at the end of the movie, which means that Tango went on some sort of adventure because like he's at the diner And then he's there sniffing Jason's body at the end in the Voorhees house, which implies that he's gone on some sort of incredible journey. We don't know what it is, but he's there.
Can't know, yeah. We can't know what secret wisdom he collected.
Yeah. So I have these kind of grouped together, which is Jessica, Vicky, and this baby situation. Later, Joey the diner lady, too.
I was going to say the diner people is a specific cauldron of maniacs.
Yeah.
Joey the diner owner and her small husband.
At one point, she points a gun at Jessica, the mother of the baby, and says, like, I'm not letting you see this baby that's in the back that I didn't want here and I have no connection to.
Right.
It is so confusing.
Go ahead.
She basically kidnaps a baby. Joey does.
She hates the baby too. Like when Vicky first shows up with the baby and is like, we got to hide the baby here. Jo hates the shit out of that baby so hard. She's like, put it in the street.
Right.
And then she decides to let the baby stay. So they take the baby back and put the baby in a produce box.
Yeah.
In the back in the kitchen and then just go to work the rest of the shift. And that's just how they're storing this baby.
Right. Vicky just has the baby. I was so confused about that because there wasn't much conversation.
No.
Jessica comes in with the baby and Vicky is like, oh, is it yours? And it's like, who the fuck else's would it be? First of all.
No, I found it.
Yeah, but I guess this is a world where people just pass babies. Because at first I was like, is Vicky a nanny? Because she just gives it to her. Like, oh, here you go. And it's like, oh, great baby. And then she just shows up to work with the baby. Vicky does. And it was like, why does Vicky have the fucking baby? She's acting like put upon by having the baby. Like she's the single mother with the baby who brings it to work. And it's like, it's not your baby. Like, why do you?
Right,
why are you like, ugh, this
like
baby?
She took a baby to a job interview to try to game it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Jo just incandescently hates this baby.
Yeah, and it was so confusing what any of this, like, what the dynamic was. Vicky dies hard, by the way. She gets impaled.
She does.
She gets impaled the same way Shinzon in Star Trek Nemesis does, where she says to Jason, "Go to hell." She dies like a Klingon. Like she's just like dies like, and she's a warrior in battle. It's amazing.
But the end of it. You remember?
What?
Like he impales her on the bar, and then she says, "Go to hell," and then he squeezes her head until the top of it pops.
Right.
Like a science fair volcano.
Yes. Yeah. It's an amazing death.
It's pretty incredible.
For me, it's the idea, because she's like, what, a 20-year-old?
Yeah.
Like, when I was 20, if I got impaled, I wouldn't think to be like, go to hell. Like, I'm Bruce fucking Willis. Like, that's just incredible. I would
be screaming, trying to pull myself off the bar. I would be
bargaining.
I would be like a wounded animal.
Yeah.
Just tearfully bargaining.
Yeah. We talked about Jessica and the mom thing, because can't be stressed enough, because that was another. It's a few things. Jessica walks in on her mom's blood being cleaned, and Vicky goes up and says like, "Oh, hi, is this the baby?" And then she asks about Steven, and she goes like, "Oh, bad news about Steven." So like she is learning in that moment that Steven
was arrested.
Her ex-lover has been arrested for killing her mother.
The father of her baby.
Yes, but I guess she knows her mother was killed, because, again, she seems to have processed it.
Right, even if she does, she's still, like, having this, oh, meet the baby, and can you believe this conversation 8 feet from a pool of blood that used to be her mom.
I feel like it's extremely possible that in the rewrites and, like, the reshoots, that in this moment, the actors did not know what they were doing. Like, they did not know the relationship between, like, whose blood that was.
I got that feeling in a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone here knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Steven, who Lord knows why he's not allowed near the baby, but he isn't.
Presumably some list of horrible crimes.
Yeah. Who basically goes all in on the Jason lore because he meets a guy in prison who wants to break his fingers. And we'll have to talk more about that. But he just he is told basically Jason wants to possess the body of your ex-lover.
Your baby mama.
Yeah, and he's just like, okay, yeah. He really does give Tommy Jarvis vibes.
Right, it seems like he already has one foot in this world.
Yes. He takes a cop hostage because he's convinced that Jason's ghost is going to kill his baby.
Right, and that's a reasonable thing to do when those are the stakes that are on the table. You just got to tell them that, and then they'll let you off with a ticket.
Yeah. And now I also have Robert Campbell, news anchor Robert Campbell.
Oh, News Gremlin.
Yeah.
Hosts a version of Hard Copy. He's really rock hard about just being the grossest ratings ghoul in history, like screwing Jessica over for he is cartoonishly evil. We learn in a phone conversation that he has moments before Jason impregnates him with his hellworm.
Yeah, he's unhinged because the first thing he does, he talks to a bounty hunter that is Jason's ghost is still wandering around.
Oh my God.
And so he on the air puts out he answers the 500K bounty on Jason's ghost. On the air, he puts a hit on the ghost of Jason Voorhees. And it was like, wow, if he does nothing else, that makes him a fucking maniac.
That news segment that he does at the beginning with Creighton Duke, who is the main event that we're saving. But the shots in it are too long. The fact that it's not a very well-directed movie sort of plays into this character being a psychopath. The shots are a little too long. Yeah. He's asking him these questions about Jason's ghost while they're sitting in a tiny tea garden drinking lemonade out of crystal jars.
Yes. It's madness. Pure madness. I can't fucking believe it. And I can't tell what he believes so we learn he's dating Jason's half niece, which is a wild coincidence.
Just
I guess
for
he
ratings.
Knows that.
No, he knows it. I think we learn, right?
It seems like he doesn't.
He's doing it all for
ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he is basically. But what's wild is even when the murders start, he seems to be daring Jason. Because then, as we're alluding to, he steals the corpse of his girlfriend's mother and brings it to Jason's house.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing?
That is the most unhit. That's Jason does that. Jason is the person who steals bodies in these movies.
Yes. This man broke into the morgue, took a body, picked it up, lifted it like a sack of flour, and dragged it into, I assume, the trunk of his car, drove it to this abandoned house, and dragged it inside. A dead body of a woman who had been stabbed to death for the ratings.
When did he do this, too?
I don't know.
Did he come to town earlier and then drive back and pretend to come into town with Jessica?
I guess. For the
he put a lot of miles on his car for this gag.
Yeah. The victim of a demon that's going around possessing people. He's basically challenging God.
Why not?
Yeah.
He has the top-rated news program at 7:30.
Yeah. Fuck it.
He's untouchable, Dave.
Because, why do you need the ratings of this? I don't know what... And what is his plan there? Where he's like, it's going to be great ratings. Imagine Jason coming to the house of this body, and it's like, are you going to be filming it?
You're going to get an interview with Jason. That's what it is.
Right.
He's going to do the Barbara Walters interview with Jason Voorhees.
Right.
We know he can talk.
Yeah. He probably has a lot to say. I'd want to know. Let's talk about...
He's just the most boring talk show guest ever.
Yeah.
The most boring interview ever.
Sitting there, just breathing. Should we talk about fucking the Duke?
We should. Creighton Duke, the Jason bounty hunter. My fucking God. He might be my favorite character in all of Friday the 13th.
He might be the second best monster of all of Friday the 13th.
he walks into this movie looking like a Final Fantasy character.
Yes. He explodes Jason. He watches him explode. His immediate thought is, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
And he just knows that Jason
he
has
knows
this
bullshit isn't done. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really tapped into all this Jason lore.
He goes on the air like he's Quint from Jaws and basically says, Jason isn't dead. His ghost is out there, but I'll catch him for good for $500,000.
Yeah, he even says the Jaws quote.
He does.
Get the mask, the machete, the whole damn thing. But yeah, he says, I'll take $500,000 to kill Jason's ghost. And then the interviewer asks him a question, and I have the answer written down because it's the most incredible thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it. Do you know the part I'm talking about?
No, I mean, the interview is spectacular. Spectacular interview. I want to talk about more of what he does after this, because his plan is he's the Joker. I think. I'm actually not sure, because he basically presents as this badass here. And he, for some reason, is the only person who knows that about the bloodline lore stuff. Like, he's knows it. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Like, he's studied it. The quote I have written down, like, it's the Robert, the news ghoul, says to him, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear Jason Voorhees? And he says, that makes me think of a little girl in a pink dress sticking a hot dog through a donut.
So he is just a maniac. What does that mean?
He's just a fucking crazy person.
What does that fucking mean?
He goes on to say, what you think of Jason is not Jason. That body he's wearing is just meat. That boy knows how to dress. He wears other people's bodies like folks wear suits.
Right.
He might get blown up. That's just a minor inconvenience. Like, he just goes off on how Jason trades bodies and is an eternal spirit. After talking about hot dogs and donuts. It's just the whole interview segment, which is the first thing you see after Jason gets blown up at the very beginning of the movie. The whole interview segment is just incredible.
It's absolutely incredible.
Really, really dense madness.
Because what happens next is, so he sets up as like, I'll handle Jason. I'm like, this is the big hero of the movie. He immediately, so his first thing he does, he goes to the diner and gets in a fight with a cop and gets arrested
for being a dick. On his quest to destroy evil, he gets arrested for being a dick.
He hits on the cop's girlfriend, harasses the cop, and gets arrested, and is gone for most of the movie. Yeah. He just dips. He just gets arrested, and the movie just continues without him.
Yeah,
because I guess.
Go ahead.
But then he shows up in jail, and this is where I was like,
I was going to say the next time. Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
That's why I keep saying he's the Joker. He literally did he get arrested on purpose? Was this part of some bizarre master plan that we couldn't see?
I think he just isn't as good at this as he thinks he is.
Right, because it feels like he maybe just lucked out. Because it's like this idea that he's playing 4D chess, where he's like, I have to get arrested because then I can meet up with Steve, the guy the father who will also get arrested, surely, and then I'll convince him to help me escape
by breaking several of his fingers.
Because when Jason takes over starts beating up the cops, he has this moment where he's like, ha ha ha. Right on time. Like, he has that confidence where he's just like, time for me to escape. So that's where I kept being like, this is so unhinged. Did he plan everything?
But then his plan does, if that's the case, he just goes straight from jail to steal the baby from the diner and then goes to the Voorhees house.
I forgot he stole a baby.
Yeah, the first thing he does is kidnap the baby.
I don't think he's playing 4D chess, for the record.
No, I think he just got arrested because he sucks at this.
Right. The first thing he did is just harass a cop and get arrested. Again, he hits on her. He's not harassing the cop by being like, I'm telling you, Jason's coming. It's not that, like it's not like
he doesn't mention
Tommy
Jason
Jarvis
at all. Yeah.
in 6. When Tommy gets arrested because he's like freaking out. it's not that. He goes into a diner and just starts a fight unrelated to Jason.
Right.
And is just like, hey, good looking, and starts hitting on her.
He does.
And then the cop's like, hey, that's my girlfriend or whatever. And he's like, fuck you, man. And gets arrested.
He escalates it, to the point of getting arrested. And it's only at that point does he look at Diana and actually tell her that she's in danger. Like, he doesn't mention the danger until he's pissed the entire town off.
It feels like he was trying to do something
It's like,
cool.
good, now I've got your attention. You're in danger. At that point, he's being stuffed into the back of the car.
Right. It feels like he thought it was going to go one way. Like, it's the equivalent if Quint did the chalkboard thing, and then everybody was just like, get the fuck out. That was awful. Yeah. And he's like, but I hear it. And they're like, no, get out.
Nobody
get out.
was
And he's
impressed
like, listen
by
to me.
it at all, yeah.
And then they just arrested him. Like, that's what it is. It's like he thought he was going to do some big dramatic scene here.
Yeah.
And he ended up just getting handcuffed.
Yep. He fucked it all up. He's so good. He's my favorite character. He's dressed like he works at a living museum. You know, like one of those places where you have to pretend it's the 19th century.
Yes, he does. He is dressed that way.
He's dressed like a time-traveling cowboy.
Yeah.
I love him so much. He looks so fucking stupid.
And he steals a baby.
It's the first thing he does after he gets sprung from jail.
They were right to arrest him.
Yeah,
he also breaks that kid's fingers. He breaks Steve's fingers without telling him why. It's
and then he keeps doing it. And then after he breaks his third finger, he's like, you need to help them. You need to help us defeat Jason. She's the only one who can do it, and she's going to need your help. It's like, you broke half my finger. Right.
He actually declines. Steve is such a maniac that even Steve is like, all right, break my next finger. And he's like, all right, you've had enough, man. This is...
I'll tell you this next one for free.
Yeah. Because even he's just like, Jesus, man. I need you need to be able to use your hand when you fight Jason. It's such a wild, because the idea is it's a gambit to like tell the cop that he broke his hand, but you don't need to actually break his hand for that gambit to work.
Pretend.
You can just hold. Yeah, he never had to prove his hand was broken to the cop. They're both just it's two maniacs colliding. Two completely different types of maniacs.
Yeah, they each have 13% of a plan. So together,
they
have 26% of a plan.
Does he even help? No, he dies.
No.
He gets hugged to death and dies.
They get to the house. He falls through the floor and gets his legs stabbed by an old pipe, so he can't help them for a while. He makes his way back upstairs. And handcuffs himself to Jason. So he buys them about 3 seconds, and then Jason just hugs him to death. Yeah, he rips him out of the handcuffs.
Yeah.
And squishes him.
So his journey is he starts as like this badass. He says completely unhinged things, puts a bounty on Jason's ghost, and then immediately gets arrested, disappears from the film for most of the film.
He's dressed like the worst avatar on the message board.
Breaks out of jail and dies. Kidnaps a baby and dies. That's his journey.
Yeah. It was always going to end this way.
Yeah, you're right.
He's my favorite character.
He's amazing.
He
is the second best.
He's
monster.
Everything. Yeah, he's everything. He should have been the one killing his way through 9 movies.
Yeah. Do you want to do the death rank?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I have written down 23 deaths. I'm counting the possessions because they do in fact die. It takes a minute.
Yeah, man, this one has a surprising number of them. When I did the I'm sure I've mentioned it before on this series, when I for Collider did the ranking every kill in the Friday the 13th series. Yeah. I do remember this one having a surprising number of them.
Oh yeah. So the number 1 is Jason, shot with machine guns and blown up by SEAL Team 6.
That's a pretty good
Jason
one.
dies twice in this movie. Next is
he makes
the
very
coroner.
silly noises, as I mentioned. He's like, as he's getting shot. Very funny puppet noises. Sorry.
It's amazing. The nerd coroner, stabbed with a probe and face is waffled.
Yeah, he gets his face waffled, man. Waffle
Guards
face.
1 and 2 killed off screen.
We see their dead bodies on hard copy. It looks like they maybe got their heads smushed against the wall. But yeah, they're just kind of dead.
Alexis the camper is slashed several times. Deborah the camper is stabbed mid-orgasm with a shovel and then bisected.
It's pretty sweet.
Yep. Bisected vertically.
That is probably the most infamous cut on the theatrical version.
I was going to say, that's the one where I was like, this couldn't have made theatrical.
That's the one that most people are probably aware of if they've seen the theatrical cut, because they cut around it in a way that's very obvious that they've removed something. Anyway.
Yeah. Luke the camper killed off screen. There's way too many killed off screens in this.
Maybe Luke isn't dead. Maybe he just left him there.
Maybe that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
If he was,
I think Luke I've done enough.
Changed, yeah. Horny cop wife. She gets her head slammed in the door.
It's a good one. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
Phil the coroner off screen gets turned into goo because he.
Oh right, we don't see him melt, but we see Josh melt.
Right, but we can assume. Diana stabbed with one of them knife sharpeners in the back, like throwing knives.
Right through the back, yeah, like a circus performer. He just throws it right into her.
Yep. Gus the cop melted to death after being possessed by Jason.
Gus, that was his name.
Yep. Lady cop, I don't remember her name. They said it like once. She gets slammed against a locker, presumably killed.
Yeah, blood gushes out, so.
Yep. Police chief gets fake killed when this guy also is a trooper. He gets his nose slammed in by Jason, and then he shows up later to get stabbed by Jessica.
With a ceremonial dagger.
Yeah, who thinks he's Jason. Two cops get their heads slammed together, Three Stooges style. Simple but fun.
It's also like really violent.
Yes. Yes. It's very funny.
It's like a trauma Three Stooges gag.
Yes, it's very trauma. The dishwasher kid gets his arm snapped and then he gets slammed against the glass. I assume he died.
Oh, yeah. Jason wouldn't let that guy live.
Yep.
Did you see his ponytail?
No. Oh, yeah. It's that guy. He's dead.
You're done.
Diner patron gets slammed through the counter like a wrestling move. Again, I assume he didn't make it.
I don't think that guy's getting back up. Yeah, he looked to be about 60.
Pookie. We didn't mention Pookie, who gets his head stuck in the fryer, which is like, of course, classic. Joey gets her jaw smashed into her own head.
Man, what an effect.
Yeah, she looks like a Tim Burton character.
Yeah, it's pretty great. She looks like a Beetlejuice ghost.
Yeah, she really does. Vicky impaled on a bar that she just used to impale Jason, and her head crushed.
It popped like a gusher.
Yep. Robert, possessed by Jason, turned into goop off screen.
Shot
Randy,
many times too.
Yes,
in Robert's body. He drives Robert into the ground.
Yes, Robert dies 1,000 deaths. It's amazing. Randy gets possessed by Jason, has his neck slashed, and then a little baby Jason crawls out of him.
Monster crawls out of his neck.
Yep. Duke hugged to death by Jason.
It's pretty sweet.
And finally, Jason again gets bombed again, this time by God.
Godlight,
yeah, by Godlight, and dragged to hell by Freddy Krueger. We have to rate the best one.
Man.
So this is tough.
It's tough.
I would say the best classic one is Deborah the camper getting slashed mid-orgasm.
Bisected, yeah. That's definitely the best Crystal Lake, style murder for sure.
But Jason getting exploded by SEAL Team 6.
That really is. And him making the goofy Frankenstein noises.
Yeah, going like, oh.
Is he hurt? Is he surprised? I don't know what that's conveying.
It's kind of amazing. It's a hell of a, like, this movie, I try to think about what it would be like. Yeah, to watch this in theaters, and that opening and the ending. The ending of being like, oh, fuck! And then the opening of like, what? Like, what the fuck is happening?
That's one of the bigger differences is the opening, too. In the theatrical version, I think it just starts right away with her running through the woods and Jason following her.
Weird.
Like, it cuts out all the beginning stuff.
That's less fun.
I think it's going for the same thing, just from a different way. Like this way, in the unrated one, it's just a little more drawn out, so you're more drawn into it.
Yeah,
it's still more. It's still upending the same expectation, but yeah, I prefer the lead up.
Yeah. And then we talked about
hell of an
Vicky.
offer to make right up front for sure. Yeah.
Vicky's death, Joey, Pookie. These are all really good classic ones. I think the Two Cops, the Three Stooges, is very underrated.
It's pretty sweet.
I just can't.
That's like a dark horse sleeping bag one.
Yeah, but I just can't get past Jason.
Jason getting shot to pieces.
I mean, what do you think?
I think it has to be Jason getting ultra comboed by SEAL Team 6, just shot with all of the ordnance on the eastern seaboard. Yeah, he got drone striked. Yeah,
that's a hell of a thing to happen.
Obama took him out.
Right. If I had watched these movies for the first time, I never would guess that there would be a drone strike in them at any point. And I do firmly believe it's a drone strike. And my reasoning is that you don't really hear like planes or like you don't hear much leading to it. And it's such a precise strike that I'm like, I can't believe that that's anything but a drone strike. I know this movie was made before they were thinking about drone strikes, but it just feels like this very precise like attack where you don't see what hit him, where it's just a drone like fucking way in the air, just like locking. It's like a Call of Duty level. This is a Black Ops level.
That may have been how they were thinking about it too. Like, what if we had some kind of like futuristic weapon that could like shoot a bomb at him like from the sky?
Yeah, it felt that way. All right, I'm good with that. I'm good with Jason drone striked by SEAL Team 6.
Let's chisel it into the list.
All right. Man, we'll go through them all, but we got a few more Jasons. So we have 3 more.
A couple more left, yeah.
Jason X, Freddy versus Jason, and then I assume we want to just do the remake.
Reboot?
Yeah. And so we're almost done on this adventure.
We're almost done, but there are rumblings of another reboot and then that television prequel. But we'll see. Yep. We'll see what happens.
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
In one some capacity, we'll be there. But for now, thank you so much, Krishanovic.
Thank you
for this. Folks, this was through our Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, GAMEFULLY, unemployed, where you can get custom podcasts. You can also get custom We Just Watched episodes. We watch movies every Friday night with our patrons, but for just $5, you get exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, and then we also do stuff with the small beans like Spiel Boys and Star Trek The Next Futurama. All of that for $5. Check it out. Why not?
Why not? And while you're at it, why not check out GameFullyUnemployed.com, where you can find a link to our Teespring store, where we have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So check that out.
Including Jason stuff.
There we have some Jason stuff. We do.
Yeah.
Leave us a review and go listen to our new show, Batical. Do that.
Yeah. Yeah, listen to Batical. It's out now wherever Baticals are sold.
Wherever podcasts are sold.
And happy Halloween. May your spook hole be filled plentifully.
Up to the nuck.
Yeah. I feel gross. All right.
I feel spooky.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.